Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, camping again, yes, another absolutely gorgeous day out. It's actually sunrise right now and there is a nice waterfall behind me, and I don't know if you can see it, but there is a tiny heron. Well, not tiny once you get up to it, but tiny from this view here. If you can see it, you get 5,000 Sujano points. Don't know what they're good for, but anyways, you get them if you can see it. So we've got a lot of news to talk about, so come along with me on my morning walk and let's talk some news. So first up on the docket, we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with Shad PS4. And Shad PS4 seems to continue to make improvements in leaps and bounds. In fact, Brutal Sam has a brand new video on YouTube showcasing a lot of gameplay in action. So Brutal Sam's video showcases a bunch of different games here, including Infamous Second Son, Drive Club, Killzone, and even more. And if you're interested in it and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. I do think it's worth pointing out here that all of this testing footage seems to be testing footage and not stable release footage. So it seems to be footage from an early development build that has not released just yet. The last version of Shad PS4 that released was back in July. And additionally, if you wanted to see even more Shad PS4 stuff in action, I'd recommend checking out their Discord group and their Showcases tab. And I'll drop a link to their Discord in the description below. Because taking a look here, there's some very interesting stuff, like Star Wars Jedi Academy running on Windows 11 with no hacks and in-game. And also PT with fixed missing textures. And on top of that, if you needed even more fill of Shad PS4, I'll drop a link to a YouTube video showcasing God of War 3 Remastered up and running on an Intel iGPU. But moving on from that, and next up we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Eden, and Eden just got a brand new update. Now it's worth mentioning that this is not a stable release version of Eden, this is a release candidate, so there may be bugs and issues. And they say here, Eden version 0.0.3, release candidate 3, is the latest update at the time of filming. So as for what's in this release, they've got a critical fix for LAN connection issues, several regression fixes from Yuzu, version 0.0.2 of Eden, and release candidate 1 of Eden. Major new Vulkan and memory fixes, and a large-scale improvements to build system and CI. On top of that, the Android version has a brand new Eden theme and also EmuReady integration. And speaking about EmuReady, next up we're talking about EmuReady. And for those who may be unaware, EmuReady is aiming to be a one-stop shop for compatibility with emulators and certain devices. Now, interestingly here, EmuReady seems to be evolving to be more than just a compatibility tracker. In fact, there's an Android app in development that's also aiming to be a launcher. A launcher that may automatically apply settings and recommended settings per device per game, depending on what's specified. And that may make the setup, the emulation process a lot easier for a lot of people. And they are working on integration with Eden. So here's the quote from the developer, Eden X EmuReady, because we shouldn't have to install drivers ourselves. Launching a game in Eden through EmuReady based on a compatibility report now does literally all the setup work. Even fetching and installing the driver, all you need to do is find a compatibility report for your device and game and press launch. On top of that, they go on to say here, Eden and Game Native are now both supported on EmuReady. Official EmuReady Android app release should be in about 12 days. And speaking about Android, next up we're talking about a couple of games that have been ported to Android that you may or may not have realized exist. And these are from Izzy 2 Lost. So the first one here is Starship, and version 1.0.2 just released. The second one here is Perfect Dark, and version 1.0 No Touch Controls has just released. So based on the title, no touch controls are yet available. And the third game here, and the last game we're talking about in this segment, is Spaghetti Kart. And Spaghetti Kart version 1.0.0 has just released. Let me know your thoughts on all three of these games on Android. Next up, we're talking about mini consoles, and if you're a fan of older retro games like stuff on the Vectrex, you're gonna like this news here. They've just unveiled the Vectrex Mini. It is currently just a prototype, but it does look promising. Unfortunately, I've got no word on release date or pricing or what games are gonna be included with it. I would assume probably most of the library, provided they've got licensing for that stuff. But it does appear that it will be heading to Kickstarter at some point in time. And speaking about stuff coming soon and not having details on release or any of that stuff just yet, Next up, we're talking about not a mini console, but a full-size console, and that is the A1200. If you're a fan of the Amiga, you might be excited about this announcement. I guess it's coming with the Settlers too. This one is being made by Retro Games Limited. It is being unveiled at Gamescom, and they say here the global reveal is going to happen in October. Unfortunately, we don't have specs or price or release date or anything of that nature just yet. But let me know your thoughts about a brand new A1200. And speaking about full-size consoles, next up we're talking about the upcoming Analogue 3D, which is the Analogue full-size N64 FPGA. That sun is super bright. I'm going to have to angle myself a little bit differently here. Anyways, this console was supposed to launch in Q1 and then was delayed, and has been delayed yet again. Now it's supposed to launch in Q4. I don't want to necessarily say it's all doom and gloom for this one. I think it's just a minor delay. And considering the N64 came out a long time ago, I don't necessarily think people waiting a few extra months is really going to be that harmful. But a lot of people seem to be upset that Analogue keeps delaying this console. As you can probably figure, Analogue is well aware of this, and they say, "We know this sucks. Another delay announced late after months of patience. We feel it too. Analogue 3D has been in development for 4 years, obsessively. It's at 99%. Hardware, system, packaging, the full kit, been set for months. The last 1% is where we're focused. If you have pre-ordered one of these and you're sick of waiting, you can cancel your pre-order for a full refund. Analogue is allowing that. But at the same time here, I'd probably trust that Analogue is going to release this. Let me know your thoughts. And speaking about arguably controversial stuff, next up we're talking about the upcoming Google Pixel 10. And well, this is not being received very well at all. Apparently here, Google will throttle your Pixel 10's battery, and there's nothing you can do about it. The full details of this are up on Android Authority, and I would recommend giving it a read for more information if you are interested in the Pixel 10 or just interested in stuff in general. I'm assuming similar features to this will be rolled out to other devices. Anyways, I guess the feature gradually reduces your phone's charging speed and battery to stabilize battery performance and aging. This feature is called the Battery Health Assistance feature, and they say the software will adjust the battery's maximum voltage in stages that start at 200 charge cycles and continue gradually until 1,000 charge cycles to help stabilize battery performance and aging. Furthermore, they go on to say here, you may notice small decreases in your battery's runtime as your battery ages. Battery Health Assistance will also tune the phone's charging speed based on adjusted capacity. You may notice a slight change in battery charging performance. In my opinion here, and this might be a hot take, but probably not, I don't like this feature at all. I mean, I can understand why it exists in the first place, but I would also wish they would give the users the ability to toggle that on or off. I mean, there might be an instance where you really need to quick charge your phone and you can't because this charging thing is limiting that. On top of that, and this is a big one as well, I really wish they just made replaceable batteries. That would just make life so much easier. But in the day and age of just throwing stuff away and buying something new, I don't necessarily think that's a thing anymore. I mean, if they're not willing to let customers replace their own batteries to extend the life of the phone, or at least make it doable, make it accessible, the least they could do is put a better battery in there in the first place. Not rocket science. But at the same time here, I'm guessing they probably want people to continually upgrade their phones and spend quite a bit of money. Could be wrong with that. That could be a hot take. Let me know your thoughts. Next up here, we're talking about Hollow Knight Silksong, and I didn't talk about this one in yesterday's video because I recorded it before the announcement was made. But anyways, Hollow Knight Silksong is releasing on September 4th. And that has a lot of people excited, but expectations are super high. And based on some of the discussions I've heard regarding people who have had early access to the game is extremely good. Now, I don't know if that's just marketing stuff and they're saying good stuff about the game just for the sake of saying good stuff about the game, but I'm expecting Silksong to be excellent. And the fact that it's releasing on September 4th is just music to my ears. I am really, really excited to test this one out very soon. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Next up here, we're talking about Doom, and if you're a fan of Doom and running Doom on weird stuff, well, someone's got Doom running on the Anker Prime charging station, and you use the little dial on the side to control things, and it's running better than expected. Overall, I'm a huge fan of stupid stuff like this. I love seeing Doom run on a bunch of different stuff. I really like seeing Doom running on this charging station. Completely impractical and ridiculous, but at the same time pretty cool. I'll drop a link to the video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out, at least for possibly a chuckle. Next up here, we're talking about some retro gaming handhelds, and XU Retro has unveiled the pricing for their confusingly named systems. So the XU35 A50 is going to be priced at $75 for the early bird price and $85 for the regular price. And it features a MediaTek Helio G35 CPU and 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of onboard storage. The H50 has a 5-inch screen, and if you wanted to learn more about it, I do recommend checking out the Retro Handhelds article. And they've also got an article here talking about the XU Retro XU35 A40, which features the exact same G85 chip, but a 4-inch screen. It does have Hall sticks and triggers, and the pricing on this one is $90. Now, aside from the confusing naming system of XU35 H50 and XU35 H40 for XU Retro, the pricing is also confusing to me. So the H50 here, priced at $85 normally, is $5 cheaper than a similar device with the same chipset, same RAM, same storage, with a 1-inch smaller screen. So the H50 5 inches priced at $85, and the H40 4 inches priced at $90. Both screens seem to be running at 720p, and the H40 may have a touch screen and the H50 may not, and that might be the justifiable difference in price. Let me know which one looks more attractive to you, the H40 or the H50. And last up here, we're still talking about handhelds and still talking about retro handhelds, because they've got an article in this one too. The Mangmi Air X. If you're interested in that one, I think I said it right. They do have a video talking about it, and it is launching in September at $79. And wow, the sun is really, maybe that's a little bit better. Anyways, the Mangmi Air X seems to be directly competing against those XU Retro devices. This one is interesting though, because instead of MediaTek and Helio G35 or G85, this features the Qualcomm Snapdragon 662. It still has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. There is a micro SD card slot. This one looks super attractive, and I think Stubbs called this one the best Android handheld under $100. I'm not gonna lie here, I am loving seeing the competition between retro handheld devices. I mean, we've recently seen it between AYN and Ioneo with the Thor and the Pocket DS, and I guess you could throw in Retroid in there too. But seeing it at this lower price point to me is just music to my ears. I mean, let me know your thoughts about that one. I would say that competition in this price bracket is great for upping the quality of the products and upping what these things can do. Very curious to see what happens moving forward, but let me know your thoughts on the XU Retro devices and this Mangmi device in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff, unless you count that heron in the beginning of the video, and I'll show it in the outro as well. So all stuff and one fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.